25 years, that's huge. But there's still so much left that we haven't accomplished, that we haven't done. To be able to have like this, I don't even know what better way to put it than second chance. We need to know what each person's breaking point is, which I think we know now.
When you look at the group and how we started, you know, we all had individual backgrounds. And that's an interesting combination to put 5 solo people and say, okay, we're a group now. With doing that, you have to sacrifice some individuality because it's no longer about yourself anymore. It's about what's best for the group.
Yeah.
And I think for all of us, each of us had a different enough factor. What's enough for you may be different than what's enough for you.
Different threshold of
Exactly.
what we could stand.
Exactly.
A breaking point.
And I think that none of us, when we got into this, really knew what that was for each other. We had to go away from each other to once again find that individuality. You know, I think that had to happen to create the group that we are, to come back to each other.
There was really no time off at that time.
Right.
All of our dreams were coming true, and we were all kind of tripping out inside. Instead of us coming closer and closer and tighter together, we almost retreated from one another to get that space. And our bond wasn't as tight in those moments as it could have been.
This is true.
Probably, you know, the big realization of, okay, there's work and then there's life, and finding that balance and a need for balance was when Brian went into open heart surgery back in '98. Brian's heart surgery kind of was like, hello, that's a wake-up call. Okay, this group, this success, that all can go away real quick if we don't find some kind of balance to reel this all in and make sure that everybody is okay.
You know, I had like a 22% chance that I wouldn't wake up. You know, I couldn't just walk back in and go, hey guys, you know, we're back together. Because it wasn't like that for me. It was like a complete disconnect between me and all 4 of you guys. I mean, I delayed my surgery twice so that we could have 2 different tours. And then I got managers screaming at me going, tickets are sold and you gotta keep it going, gotta keep it going. They didn't give a shit. You talk about perspective, that's when I was like, okay, well, I have to start like clawing my way out of this to develop something for me, just me. Because all else fails, I felt like all I had was me.
I know it woke me up. I know it grounded me. It humbled me.
Me going to rehab the first time, you know, that was one of the 2 most humbling moments for me, was that. And having Ava was the next most humbling moment, because now, you know, I could deal with my wife if I were to relapse. I could deal with you guys to a certain degree at that time, and we could talk through things. But now having a child who doesn't understand, who doesn't know what it means between being drunk daddy and sober daddy, that really messed with my head, but it messed with my head in a good way. Like, no, I want to always hold my kid and always be there and be a good father and like be present. And I think because of those 2 things, and I still, you guys know, I still deal with the whole drinking situation and whatnot. I have good days and bad days. You know, having that balance now means something.
I feel like this is like our therapy session happening on camera, which is crazy. I think my grounding moment, and it's kind of interesting because I don't think I've ever told you guys this, was, I mean, truthfully, it was my failed solo album attempt. You know what I mean? But I don't think you guys understood why I did it, truly. I remember like I was, what, like 17 or 18 when it really hit big, 98, 97, 98. And I know actually Brian and I would experience it at times. We'd go to the basketball court. We'd be trying to just play basketball with normal people. And they would be mocking us and singing our songs as we'd be going up and down the court. You'd hear them. I just remember the way I felt at that time. It was a little embarrassing. And I'm like, at that time, I'm like, this is all I know. This is like, is there gonna be anything other than this in my life? And having a lack of, I'd say maybe appreciation. And I remember I was just like selfish. I was like, I'm gonna do this. I don't care what anybody thinks, what everybody says. I need to try it. And that's why I call the album Now or Never. I'm gonna sound like Bryan Adams. I'm still basically, I have a teenage mentality, you know what I mean? And rebelling against the family that I have that I didn't know was more of a family than my real family. I think that was kind of the grounding moment and humbling moment to realize that, you know what? Sometimes the grass isn't greener on the other side, and that's okay.
I think for me personally, looking back, besides as well, probably not a successful solo record, but one of the things that kind of put things in perspective was after we had just won our first MTV award when we came back home. I remember us just being on such a high. I remember having my brother and sister there with me, and we were all celebrating. And afterwards, at the very end of the night, he finally said, our sister Caroline, who you guys all know had lupus, I guess she had went to the hospital, and he thought it was just a kind of a routine kind of checkup, and come to find out it wasn't exactly the routine checkup. She had a situation where things got bad. I remember trying to catch a flight, and I missed the first flight, and I caught the second flight, and then I got there. By the time we were sitting in the waiting room, within an hour, the doctor came to us and said, we lost your sister. And I didn't understand that. And I just remember going, what it was to be from an extreme high to within like 24 hours an extreme low. And knowing that we were gonna have to bury my sister in the next few days in order for me to still try to catch up with you guys to go to South America. And I was so dedicated that I said, you know, my family rushed everything to make it happen. But that really put things for me personally in perspective. But it's like, it's realizing that we all have sacrificed for each other in so many different ways. I think over time we've been able to grow into the understanding and appreciate the sacrifices. I think at the time, like Brian said, I think a lot of us maybe didn't understand or appreciate maybe sometimes the sacrifice not because that we were just bad people, we weren't on the same page mentally with everything going on. But looking back on it, that had to happen. That had to happen, because if that didn't happen, maybe we wouldn't be here today.
It's kind of crazy because it feels like the stars are kind of aligning again for us, you know, in a way, because if you think about where we came from and how we started, I mean, it was like a miracle. True. That we would have met each other, that we would have bonded, that we would have connected the way we did, that we would have...
What are the chances?
What are the chances that we'd end up dancing?
Like 2 in a million, maybe once in a life.
I'm just saying. So, you know what I mean?
Those are song lyrics.
Yeah. I think the journey is ongoing with us.
I think to put it in perspective, to like let people know, I mean, we have to let them know, I mean, look, we've been waiting for a very long time to get that song, to get that hit single, you know, again. When Kevin had left for a little while, I mean, we were on a low, and we were there kind of just like Brian likes to say, keeping our head above water, you know,
just
kind of treading a little bit.
Treading.
Now it's like the icing on the cake, you know, the cherry on top again.
We're not trying to be anything that we're not. Like trying to, you know, claw at getting good songs and chasing producers down and, oh my gosh, depending on everybody else, when we turn the focus to depending on us, shit just moves out of the way and it happens.
I really think he's right about this. The minute that we embraced who we are,
yeah, that's when the shift happened.
And that's when it happened.
From this point forward, right, we all know that as long as we're all healthy and happy and communicating and getting along and enjoying what we do, whether it resonates on a massive scale or not out there in the world, we know that we can be happy because that's what we've been doing.
Yes. I'm proud of who we are. I'm proud of what we've done. And right now we're in uncharted territory. And so I think telling a story that's never been told before, living it, that's exciting to me.